I'm Harrison Graham. We got a lot to get into on the injury front when it comes to the Chicago Bears and the Washington Commanders. First injury reports of the week dropped as this game is set for Monday night, so normally it would be Wednesday, but since they play Monday, the first reports drop on Thursday. Now, for the Bears, before we get to their injury report, it is an off day for them on the practice front. They decided to practice Tuesday and Wednesday, with Tuesday being the first full practice of the week instead of Wednesday. And so they took an off day today, and then they'll be back out there Friday and Saturday before, Sunday, kind of a rest, recover day before the game on Monday. But they are required to put out an injury report, which they did, but they are estimates, so they're relative. But with 2 practices already in the books this week, I think it's probably a fairly accurate representation of what they saw on the practice field the last couple of days. So we'll get to that in just a second. But listen, if you want Chicago Bears content every single day, all year long, doesn't matter if it's during the season, the off season, the dead parts of the calendar, we're bringing you at minimum 1 video per day, but typically at least 2, if not more. We go live 3 days per week. Mondays, Thursday, game days. We're bringing you free content. Hit that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to support the show. All right, the Bears injury report has dropped, and I tweeted this not in a fun way. It almost feels like they're more injured coming out of the bye week in certain areas now. There are some positives, but we'll get to the kind of negative side of it first. We all wanted to know what's going on with Jaquan Brisker, who didn't practice on Tuesday and Wednesday. He's been labeled with a quad injury, so we'll see how that progresses throughout the week. Hopefully he can practice on Friday, but he did not practice. Grady Jarrett did not practice as well. He's dealing with that knee issue. He played through it for a few weeks, but kind of feels like they're going to kind of take the cautious approach now and try to get him healthy, so don't know if he'll play this week. New player to monitor, Kyle Monungai with a thigh injury, did not practice. Again, these are estimates, but I wonder if he got banged up yesterday in yesterday's padded practice. And then Darnell Wright, still dealing with that elbow injury, did not practice. Now, as you take a look at some of the guys who are limited, still don't love that Kyler Gordon is limited, guys. He has been adamant he is going to play. He practiced before the bye week. He's practiced Tuesday and Wednesday, but I guess not full throttle, so hopefully he's fine. Jonah Jackson limited as well, and then Colson Loveland limited. I think those 2 guys should be fine. I expect Kyler to play, but it's just like, golly, man, it's been over a month. Like, you got to get this guy fully ready to go. Speaking of full, TJ Edwards practiced in full. So did Travis Homer and Austin Booker, who are eligible to return from short-term IR. Their practice windows were open this week, so good sign for both those guys, especially Booker. This team needs a boost in its pass rush. And then Cairo Santos in full, so doesn't sound like they're going to need Jake Moody this week. Seems like he's going to be just fine. But those DMPs, and then I'll throw Kyler Gordon in there, those are the ones to watch Friday and Saturday in their next couple of days of practices before Monday Night Football. And that's where I'll ask you guys this question. Which injury concerns you the most? I think in big picture for all of it, I would go Darnell Wright with the elbow injury, because it's certainly looking like for this week you're going to go with Theo Benedict at left tackle and Ozzie Trapillo at right tackle. That's a little scary, right? I mean, I know the Theo thing, they're benching Braxton Jones. At worst, it's probably similar type of results. At best, maybe it's a minor upgrade. Ozzie Trapillo thought he did some good things in his first action at right tackle, but first career start, that's a big ask on the road. I think Darnell not playing this week, and who knows for how long, that's obviously a concern. And then obviously Brisker, good news, doesn't sound like it's a concussion, labeled it as a quad injury, so that's a positive, but still unclear if he'll play this week, and if he doesn't, how much time he will miss. You guys let us know which injury concerns you the most. All right, today's show is sponsored by Prize Picks, daily fantasy made easy at prizepicks.com/CLNS. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. I've hit a lot of lineups recently, I'm not going to lie, and I got a little lineup tonight that I'll tell you guys about in a minute for a little Thursday night football action, but wanted to tell you about a cool feature Prize Picks now has on the app. It's a feature where you can follow other Prize Picks players, including me if you want to. Copy their lineups in one click if you want to, whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. The way Prize Picks works is simple. You just pick more or less on stat projections for players, regardless of sport. You can cross over sports in your lineups. At least 2 players, up to 6 players in your lineups. Pick more or less. If you hit, you win money. I got a 3-player lineup tonight. Jahan Dotson, more than 1.5 targets in this game. Just need Jalen Hurts to throw the ball his way twice. I'll be good there. I like the more on Jackson Dart's passing yards. I know they're banged up at receiver, and I know the Eagles have a good defense, but even if they're playing from behind, that actually might be ideal. Garbage time stats, 177.5 pass yards. I'll take the more on that. And then Saquon Barkley against his former team. Yeah, Goblin play to score a touchdown, rushing or receiving. I like him to score in this one. $20 to win $85 on this 3-player lineup. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Okay, let's get to the Commanders' injury report now. Terry McLaurin doesn't sound good for his chances of playing in this game, which that's good news for the Bears. Ian Rapoport says, quote, not looking good for Terry McLaurin. Here's the full quote he had on NFL Network saying, McLaurin, who's been battling a hip flexor injury, officially called a quad, but really more of a hip flexor, though, did not practice yesterday for the Commanders. He was referring to Wednesday. That does not bode well for his status. You would think he would need to have to practice or have a full practice to play on Monday. Well, he also did not practice again today, so he has not even been limited. Now, he was off to the side, but didn't have a practice jersey on, so he was just hanging out. I don't think he's going to be playing in this football game, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But also, his running mate, Deebo Samuel, did not practice either, as he was listed with a heel/rest designation. Now, he was dealing with a heel issue last week during the week. They kind of kept his practice reps down, and he ended up playing and actually had a touchdown. So I do expect him to play. But when you look at this wide receiver depth chart, Terry McLaurin dealing with an injury, Deebo not 100%, Noah Brown was limited. I think he'll play, but he was limited as well. A name to watch is Luke McCaffrey. I think he's only caught 7 balls this year, but he's averaging over 20 yards per catch. He's kind of having a mini breakout in his second NFL season. My guess is that we see Deebo on Monday and we don't see Terry McLaurin. That is what I would figure is going to be the scenario here. Now, until he's out, you never know, but hip flexor, that does not sound great for T-Mac. I don't think they want to force the issue there if he is not close to 100%. And that's advantage Bears because you're getting Kyler Gordon back, you think. I know he was limited today when it comes to the Chicago Bears cornerback room, but I think if Terry McLaurin is out, you've got some matchups that you feel pretty darn good about in this game. So hopefully the Bears can take advantage of that. You know, initially I said if Terry McLaurin plays, I would shadow with Tyreek Stevenson, but now I think you can kind of just line up straight up. I don't think you shadow Deebo. He's kind of a shifty, different type of receiver. So I think you'll see him line up in the slot quite a bit. Obviously, if Kyler's playing, he'll be on him a decent amount. But you can kind of just play straight up with Nashawn Wright and Tyreek Stevenson. And if one of those guys is giving, or one of their receivers is giving Nashawn Wright issues, then you could shadow if needed. But if Terry's not out there, I don't think there's really anybody you need to shadow for. So if I'm Dennis Allen, I'm stacking the box, and I'm selling out's a strong word, but I'm really keying in on the Commanders' run game. They are the best rushing attack in the NFL. Obviously, Jayden's a threat, but Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is having a breakout here the last couple of weeks. The 7th-round rookie that can run the ball with Jeremy McNichols and their other guys. Cliff Kingsbury is just really creative as a run game designer, and the Bears have had major issues stopping the run. So bring an extra body in the box. This is where you would miss Jaquan Brisker, by the way. But with Kyler Gordon, he should help. TJ Edwards is back, so he can help as well. If you need to bring in a 7th guy in the box versus a standard 6, bring in an 8th guy sometimes, I would do that because these numbers are abysmal. You're second to last in yards allowed on the ground, and you're dead last in yards per carry allowed. That has to change, and if the Commanders are thin at the wide receiver position, just more reason to bring more people in the box and try to slow down their rushing attack. Now you look at the Commanders' injury report as a whole. Chris Rodriguez also did not practice. for Washington. A couple of guys who were limited. I mentioned Noah Brown, also John Bates as well. Sam Cosmi is one to watch. Obviously, Jayden's full. He's fine. That knee issue seems to be mostly behind him now. But Cosmi, who is in line to return, Jack Sperry, our Commanders Report host, confirmed that as well. He's a big upgrade over Andrew Wiley at right guard. You know, Wiley started at right tackle, but then they've kicked him inside to guard, and Josh Connolly, the rookie's been playing right tackle. So now Cosmi over Wiley at right guard is what that looks like. So they're feeling a lot better about that offensive line unit if Cosmi ends up playing. They paid him this offseason. So that is a nice reinforcement for Washington in this game. And again, the Bears' defensive line hasn't been very good. So going up against a couple of really good offensive linemen, obviously Tunsil at left tackle, Bears going to have their challenges. So we'll see what Dennis Allen dials up here. All right, predict the score. Bears, Commanders, who wins, and what is the final score going to be? Let us know in the comments section of this video. I predicted Bears 26-24 earlier in the week. I reserve the right to change that, and I could, depending on what the injury situation ends up being like, but drop your score predictions right now. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this show. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend that this is the place for Bears content.